Well, good day, folks. Hope you're all having an awesome Tuesday. I'm just out in the shop doing some more knife cleanups. It's a cold, wet, dreary, drizzly day here. But I guess that's to be expected for fall. So the knife I worked on today, some of you may have caught it. I did a little live this morning where I was doing some work on the knife. Was the electrician's knife I picked up on the weekend. Now, at the time, I didn't know what it was, but thanks to some astute observers, I found out it's an Ontario Knife Company knife. And it's this electrician's knife right here. It was in pretty rough shape, had a lot of staining on the blades, and a lot of heavy grinder marks on the blades. As I've said in other videos, this lot that I've been picking away at the antique shop up in New Brunswick was apparently a gentleman who had collected knives, wanted to restore knives, but unfortunately his method of cleaning blades appeared to be to throw them on a bench grinder. So unfortunately that did a lot of damage and erased a lot of tank stamps, which really sucks. But this one, at least, the tank stamp was there, just the blades were heavily ground on, so I did what I could to take some of the grinding marks out of it. Let's have a look at it. It's your typical electrician's knife. Comes in about 3.5 inches long, maybe a little better. There's black synthetic covers. So one thing that was odd about it, and I'm thinking perhaps this was a repinning and just not a really good one, because the pins were very, very proud. So I took a grinder, Dremel, and ground those down more flush. Give everything a good cleaning and a polish. Cleaned out the channels. I was actually, if you saw the live, I was picking hunks of fiber and whatnot out of the channel. They were pretty clogged up. You have your standard spear point blade with a half stop. And there you can see your Ontario Knife Company logo there. I had never had an Ontario Knife Company knife in my hands before, so I wasn't familiar with the logo. Cleaned up the blades, polished them up. I'll sneak some before shots up here, maybe some clips from the previous video. You can still see some of the grinder marks in there, but I got them out as best I could without taking too much meat off the blade. Kind of cool, different nail nicks in this one. Kind of a long pull, but they're kind of squared off. It looks different to me. And there's the other side. Again, you can see some of the grind marks in there. Decent snap on the open. Not the best snap on the close. And then I have to grab a tool here. It has an internal easy open, but I don't have enough thumbnail to get a hold of it, so there you have your screwdriver, wire stripper, insulation remover, again with the same nail nick. This blade wasn't as rough. There was an odd bit there that I had to smooth out. Much better snap with this one. And then you have your brass liner lock. That was heavily, heavily corroded. There were some colors in there that I don't think I've ever seen on brass before. So cleaned that up, polished it up. Pretty good lockup now. Now, in regards to the secondary, or the blade, you'll notice here, spring on the screwdriver rides much higher than the spring on the main blade, which is going to account for some of that lack of snap. So that is probably an issue on the kick of the blade. It may be worn down a bit, and you can see there. So obviously this blade was used more than the screwdriver. Sorry, I'm losing my voice today. So you're having less of a connection with the spring. Still fits nice and flush, but clean up the back springs, got a nice shine on those. They were heavily tarnished. Got a crack on the handle here, this pin, and on the other one. They still seem solid, so shouldn't be an issue for the time being. For reference, you've got about 2 2/3 inches for your blade, with about 1.25 inches cutting surface. And then your screwdriver is just shy of 3 inches. And then really you've got the sharpened edge is about 1.5 inches. Good with that liner lock. A real nice snap to that. I don't know, maybe there's a way I can build that up, but I doubt it. It's still a very usable knife. Still has decent retention. Just doesn't have that real nice, sexy snap on the close. But overall, I think it turned out pretty decent. If anyone else has seen an Ontario Knife Company Electrician's knife, please let me know. Give me maybe a link to where I can see it, because I wouldn't mind to see what an original one looked like, just to compare this one to it, particularly for that pin issue, because I don't think that's the original pin. Anyhow, folks, that will be it for today. Next project, I suspect, will be this guy here. And this is the one I posted a shot of what's left of the tank stamp on this one, in hopes somebody might recognize it. I've gone through as many online resources as I can find to try and figure out the manufacturer of this knife. Thanks to some people who saw my just loot haul video when I showed everything I came back with, particularly Dwayne at Patriot Knife and Tool and Radar at Radar. I'll sneak it in there, Radar, forgetting the numbers behind your name. They both pointed out that these are likely horn handles, which made sense. It had that spur that had broken away. And when I slid some paper underneath of that, I could see it was very transparent. So obviously it's not wood. So a little beat up. I've got that spur glued down right now. You see where it is right there. Couldn't find a clamp that would hold, so I just wrapped a rubber band around it a few times. So we'll give that a day or so to dry, and then we'll get to work on this one. And hopefully by then I can identify the manufacturer. I suspect it's an old knife, just by the design, but I'd really like to know who made it. So that'll be the next project, I think, and we'll go from there. So anyway, I hope you're all having an awesome day. I hope the weather's better where you are, and you can get out and go for a little walk in the woods and clear your mind of all the nonsense that may have accumulated throughout your day. And if you do, take a knife with you. Might just come in handy. Y'all take care.